I met a Gypsy.
Might as well just keep talking about KTMs.
Sure.
Have you rode the new one? The new frame?
Yeah.
Is it better?
So when I went to Austria, did you see that trip?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Austria. We went and toured the KTM factory and got to ride over there with those guys, and then we got to race an Austrian national. And I was
sick.
Yeah, dude, it was next level. So, the KTM test riders were here for World Vets last year, and you saw them. They were here again this year. And they, after that, hanging out with them, and I did an interview with one of them, Mickey Stauffer. He's been longtime KTM test rider for forever. His boss, Mandy Edlinger, Mickey lined it up, Mandy made it happen, and we got to tour the whole factory. And so then I did get to ride the factory edition, a couple months before it came out, and now it's not even really out yet, but they're going to make announcements soon. They changed the frame and changed a couple other little things and a couple of really cool things. So when are you going to post this?
Why? When would it? When could I wait to post it?
A couple weeks. I think today's the 7th. I think if you wait till like the 14th or something.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's just fucking go.
Okay. Yeah. Dude, it's next level.
Really?
The frame is good, but like I didn't get to compare the frame with the stock frame or with the current frame. So it's hard to tell, like, is it 5, 10, 15% better? Like how much better is it? It's still the same bike, but it's better. But the new ECU on the new factory editions is next level. So
really?
They've been working with Lit Pro. So you have to wait until this comes out. Otherwise I'll get in deep trouble.
Yeah.
But KTM worked with Lit Pro and it's been working on it for years now, developing a ECU with GPS, with lap times, with all this stuff. So now instead of wearing a Lit Pro on your helmet, which you can't do in AMA anymore, like you can't attach stuff to your helmet. Now you don't have to attach any Lit Pro. Like if you have a KTM factory edition, it's already in the bike. It's on the front fender and it's behind the front number plate, GPS.
Sick.
So it tracks your lap times. It tracks all that stuff that Lit Pro can do, like doing sections and this and that. And it connects to your ECU, so you can mess with your phone, just like Yamaha, do the Yamaha Power Tuner app, where Yamaha started that years ago, where you can adjust the maps and make the bike slower, faster, mellower, and you can monitor engine hours, maintenance hours, like make notes in the app. Yamaha started it. KTM tried to copy it a couple years ago. It failed, and then now they're coming back with a bigger and better operation. And with Lit Pro, they can monitor all these things. But the coolest part isn't the lap times or the engine, the mapping. The coolest part is you can actually measure your RPMs and gear position around the track. So going back to back with Ryan Moraes, like I shifted way less than he did around Glen Helen, and we had the same, like similar lap times, but he's revving it more, shifting more, and I'm just like lugging it around. And it's pretty funny, like, and it's pretty cool to compare. And they did a good job of like, hey, this is coming, but like, hey, don't talk about it,
Yeah.
And as long as we respect that, then we can keep doing cool stuff,
Yeah.
And talk about it when it does come out. And it's a really cool system. But I don't know all the details about it, but that part plus the frame being a little bit softer, a little more flexible. I haven't tested the new engine mounts that they have yet, but like those things are kind of ironing out the problems that you've talked about and that KTM has had, where it's went from a soft and more comfortable frame to a very stiff frame overnight with one change, one platform change from one generation to the next. And I think now they're kind of trying to go back to be a little more flexible, a little more compliant around the track.
Man, I would have thought when I first rode the new frames, I was like, don't know. I think I like the old bike better.
Yeah.
But then I rode that. I probably put like 24 or 25 hours
on the XC.
On the XCF.
Yeah.
I friggin' love that thing now, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like really good, and it turns awesome. But I mean, I've done everything to it now. Like it's got the FCP chassis mounts and the engine bolts. It's got lower foot pegs. It's got Jamie's ECU. It's got a Yoshi pipe.
Nice. Which foot pegs did you put on it?
The Raptor ones.
Oh, sick.
So I think they're just 5mm down. I like running the 5mm back.
Yeah.
But they didn't have them, so I bought them off Motorsport.
Nice.
And then it's got track shock, the AEO full linkage
Nice.
under the bottom, shower forks, extra, like it's literally, I was like, I just did everything. But even before I did all of that, I actually really started liking it. It turned great. I think one thing that I love on the new KTMs especially is just how tight the ergos are. Like, it's funny. You need to ride my Stark.
Yeah, I do. I've never ridden one.
Because it's the best testing bike ever. Because you can go from the Stark to a regular bike and notice everything straight away. And then, so like engine braking, for example, so the Husky this year, the stock map is like probably the most engine braking out of the three Austrian bikes. And it's like straight away,
you can feel it.
Because you get off a Stark and onto that. So, and you can just drag like, okay, this is 100 engine brake, this is 0. And then you can kind of drag in between, and then you're like, oh, that kind of feels a bit like the Husky. Or
totally.
I wish the Husky felt like this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of changed the game testing wise. And that's another thing when it's so narrow. There's no radiators.
Yeah.
And then you get on a Husky.
So wide.
And you're like, whoa, that's so much wider. But then you can compare it to the KTM.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy cool bike because the testing feeling that you get, and then you can relate it back to a normal bike.
No, it's that is pretty interesting. I was supposed to go to Spain to ride the Stark. Yeah. It was pretty wild. It took a while to get.
Did you leave before, like, or did they get you in time?
No, they got me in time. Yeah. Yeah. So like it was kind of fun. A quick story. It's not very relevant, but KTM flew us to Chicago to go to Redbud to do their intro for the 23 bikes. So we'd already ridden the new factory edition, but this was like for the 23 bikes, and it was so sick to ride Redbud, perfectly prepped track. I'd raced the national.
Looks so good.
It was so sick. But it was just funny because KTM, to fly to Spain, you have to, I don't even remember. We had to go through, I did get a COVID test. Oh man, I hate that stuff, dude. So you had to get a COVID test within 48 hours of your flight to Spain, right?
Yeah.
And so dumb, but I flew and I'm healthy. I'm not sick, but KTM flies us to Chicago. We have a day and a half there, and then I'm going to fly from Chicago to Spain to ride the Stark. And there's a quick layover. Yeah, where did we do a layover? Was it in Chicago? And then we flew to the small airport near Redbud, not Buchanan, but right around there. And we had an hour or something. And I left the airport, went to the rental car center, took a COVID test, went back into the airport, and just made it for the next flight, the pedal jumper over to Buchanan or whatever airport's right there. And maybe it's South Bend, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then, but yeah, long story short, I sweated it, dude, trying to make it happen because I didn't want to leave KTM. They were taking us around, but I got the COVID test, got back on the airplane, and then I was at Chicago for 5 or 6 hours on the way home. Everybody else went to Chicago and they were going back to California, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to stay here. And I got a flight to Spain to ride the Stark. This is going to be really cool. And then they called and they're like, hey, yeah, the bike's having issues. Come back the following week. We'll book you a flight. They were super nice, and they wanted me to ride the bike when it was having no issues and all clean, But then I was racing Paula that weekend in Hangtown. So more talking about the prep for Paula in Hangtown. I was spending those weeks, in at Redbud. I was spending at the airport. I was in Florida the week before that. So it was kind of funny, but didn't get to ride the Stark. Seen a lot of cool stuff about it. And then now motocross action, we're waiting hopefully to get one someday and then be able to do a long-term test on it and review it. And I think it's pretty cool.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.